And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 4, episode 35. We are in the ultimate stretch run now. So we're starting to find out who the top seeds are in conference tournaments. We're winding down things here in the last week and a half. It'll be selection Sunday before we know it. And we're going to continue on the QCast to tell the stories of some of the really talented student athletes on the men's and women's side that are going to be part of this stretch run and possibly part of the NCAA tournament. And what a cool episode today. What a unique episode is I have the leading scorer in all of Division III men's basketball. And folks, please welcome Kaita Huki, a freshman. A freshman is the leading scorer in the land. Kai Tahuki from Grinnell College. First of all, Kai, I really appreciate you doing this. I know how busy you are with hoops and with school and everything, but how the heck are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, we're in the final stretch of our season, 2 games left, and we win the next two. We clinch the conference championship, but for the regular season. So, I'm a bit nervous, but I'm just excited, and I'm doing great. Yeah.
Before we go much further, like I want to get this out because I'm even confused as to like where the heck you're from and home. Yeah, so DJ, Coach DJ has told me that you've lived on 5 continents in your life. Um, Before coming to Grinnell, you were in New Zealand. So, like, can you walk us through, Kai? Where the heck did you grow up? And talk about all these moves you've made in your life and all the places you've lived. People are going to find this fascinating.
So my mom's American and my dad is from New Zealand. But I was born in Bulgaria and I lived there for the first 5 years of my life. Then I moved to Senegal, West Africa for the latter 5 years of my life, then Malaysia for the next six, and then my last 2.5 were spent in New Zealand, and now I'm in Grinnell, Iowa. Who would have ever thought? But yeah, so
Well, what the hell do you think of Iowa? I mean, Kai, I lived in Nebraska. I lived in Lincoln, Nebraska for 4 years. I grew up in Illinois. So, I mean, I know where Iowa is. I've driven across it, but I mean, I got to ask what you think of this state. I mean, what do you like Iowa?
I mean, I think Grinnell makes it a really unique place. So I really enjoy Grinnell. But those long 5-hour bus rides to Ripon, through Iowa, through Wisconsin, it's really flat. There's nothing there. And the Midwest winters really, really, really hit me for the first time. 3 blizzards in one week is not something I'm used to. So yeah.
And it's a and we in all seriousness, the state of Iowa is a Division III men's basketball hoops hotbed currently as we speak. If you think about like what you guys are doing in the Midwest Conference, and then if you think of the teams in the ARC, now of course Nebraska Wesleyan is in that other state, but Coe and Dubuque and Loris and Central, I mean, unbelievable hoops being played in the state of Iowa. So while I bag on my neighbor state growing up, I mean, amazing hoops, great place to live. Kai, amazing stuff. Let me read some numbers here, and then we got to get into this. This is crazy. So you're a 6'6" freshman, and you're averaging 28.5 points a game. You're doing that, by the way, in just 19 minutes a game. So some dude watching the QCast is going to say, yeah, he's playing that goofy system, and that's why he's the leading. Well, he's only playing 19 minutes a game. He's averaging 29 points a game, 2.3 rebounds, 2 assists a game. Here's another crazy stat. You've made 111 threes. You're 111 for 299, which is 37%. That's a really good shooting percentage from three, especially when you fired up 299, Kai. First of all, let me just ask you, like, does it blow your mind a little bit that like your first year of college basketball, you're leading the country in scoring? Talk about that.
I mean, I could have never imagined in my 4 years leading the country in scoring. I thought I was going to come in. I thought it was going to be, I was told, you're a practice player when you're a freshman, but the faith that Coach Dave and Coach DJ have put in us has been amazing. So all of the credit goes to the team and it goes to the coaches for just the confidence they've put in me. So, the first 5 games were super frustrating, having to take so many shots and I've never had that responsibility before. So it was a big change, but I've eased into it now, and it's really cool. It's been a really cool experience.
Now going back to where you lived most recently, which was in New Zealand, right? So like I assume that you were a hooper in New Zealand. Were you playing like at the high school level in New Zealand?
So I played at the high school level, but then I played on my local club team, which had three Division I players who played at pretty big schools. One of them played at Auburn, Kent State, and Washington. So that was a really good experience. Even though I was the 17th man on the team, I think that's really what elevated my game in the last year.
And by the way, do all those guys that you played with, do they understand that you're leading the nation in scoring? Like, do some of them know this? Or do we need to send them links or what?
No, some of them have swiped up on my Instagram story, and it's really cool, getting their support because those are my guys. So it's amazing.
Now, how in the world does a kid who's in New Zealand playing end up at Grinnell College in Iowa? Like, tell me how the recruiting process, Kai, played out here.
I just really wanted to go to I wanted to play Division III basketball. I thought it was the level that matched. So I reached out to a couple high academic schools, and DJ got back to me literally like 20 minutes after I sent him an email.
Sure.
And we had a Zoom call about 30 minutes later on my graduation morning. And I took a visit a month later, and it was just an amazing experience. So it just clicked in place through an email.
Were there any other Division threes that you visited or that reached back to you, or was Grinnell the only school that reached back to you?
I think I reached out to about 15 schools and I got like one email back from Hamilton, but it wasn't anything. So Grinnell was the only real one that responded to me.
That's incredible. And here you are averaging 29 points a game in 19 minutes a game. And folks, if you haven't watched, I know what many of you are thinking. You're thinking like it's because of the system and they're chucking up threes. Just watch this kid play. He's a 6'6" sniper. He can handle the ball. He's shifty with it. Great, just quick release, pull up, can score other places as well and does. So I encourage you to watch Grinnell play as you're starting to think about this. Now we do, Kai, have to talk about this crazy system that you play in here, right? I mean, I've done some QCasts about this, and there's been a lot of chatter. The system has been part of the D3 fabric for, I don't know, I think 25 plus years at this point, right? So when Grinnell called you back, when Coach DJ called you back and they said, come play for us, did you know that they played this crazy ass thing called the system? Were you aware of this?
Well, I actually think part of the reason they responded is because in my email, I had been on Wikipedia like the 3 hours prior looking at all the Grinnell system. I was like, wow, like this looks fun, like Division III basketball. Let's make it fun. Why not? So I that was one of the key reasons I reached out too. The system just looked amazing to play. So yeah, I mean, I knew about it going into the recruiting process. Yeah.
And so you were aware that like you were going to be on the floor and you were going to be running all over the place, trapping guys, and like you knew what you were walking into.
No, I know exactly. It was more exciting than anything. Like I think it's an amazing style of basketball. Really.
For those in Division III that have been living under a rock, let's talk about the system for a little bit. Just a couple high level points here. You guys are scoring 111 points a game. So Grinnell regularly is near the top of Division III in scoring. Greenville, which started playing a version of the system many years ago, also, but 111 points. Now you talk about turnovers here. You turn opponents over 29 times a game. So you score 111 and you turn opponents over 29 times a game, which is crazy. Now it's not all sunshine and roses here, because here's a stat that will blow people's mind. Your opponents shoot 550.
Hmm.
550, right? So like, 55% of those shots that are going up are going in on your opponents. We'll talk about that. Um, so you're 56% of your field goal attempts are threes. So as a team, Grinnell has shot 1,104 threes or made 1104 threes out of 1962 field goal attempts. So 56% are threes, and you're shooting 32%. So the system itself, as we kind of break it down, Kai, make sure I'm saying this right. You guys are trying to win the battle of the math. You're all smart kids that go to Grinnell, and you are trying to shoot. You're trying to have way more field goal attempts than the other guys through all the turnovers, and you're trying to maximize your offensive opportunities. What's your opinion? What are your thoughts on the system now that you're into it almost a full season?
You think about it a lot, but I think everything comes from the defense. Turning guys over. It's all a mental game. The energy from our bench when we have a great defensive play and the team turns it over, and we know we're going to go shoot another three down the court. I think it's the system is we have an elevated mentality going to the game versus our opponents. We might not be the better team skill wise, but it's that mentality that gets us the win sometimes.
Yeah, and just a little more on the numbers side. So Grinnell has shot the ball 1,962 times this year, 1,962. Their opponents have only shot 1,534. So on average, the Pioneers shoot 19 more times a game. But again, now you do the math, they shoot 55%. And so it's a fascinating thing to watch play out. Most importantly, Kai, we need to talk about how the team's doing, which is great. You're sitting here at 17-5. You're 11-3 in the Midwest Conference. You have 2 games left. You go to Beloit on the 14th, and you have Monmouth at home to close it out. You were in a tie in the loss column with Illinois College.
Yes.
But you swept Illinois College. You went into their place in Jacksonville and beat them. I was watching that game.
Yep.
Then you beat them at your place. What's the first of all, just talk about how great it must feel to be sitting here at 11-3 in a loss column tie in the league.
I mean, we know we're first. We just have to go execute on Wednesday. I think we're not even thinking about Saturday. Our guys are confident. We had a great practice today, and I think we're all in a confident space that we're going to go in on Wednesday and do what we do. The system, we don't change things. It's all about competing and our mentality. So, we're all just excited. We're a young team, so we have 3 more years of this, really.
What was the game at Illinois College? That was especially a huge one, I thought. At the time, they were really in control. They were in pretty good control of the league at the time of the game. You guys go in there and win that thing. That's become a really tough place to play. They have a great program. What was the key to the win that day in Jacksonville?
I think it was a sense of urgency going in. We had some pretty bad losses prior to this. We had lost to Lawrence away, who are like 3-9 in the conference now. So we had a chip on our shoulder. We knew we needed to beat them away if we wanted to have a chance to win the conference. So, we just went in, and it was a team win there. Some nights we'll have other freshmen like Gabe Garcia and Jordan Lee go off, and they'll really carry our team. But we had, I think, 5 guys over 10 points. Jackson Leone, shout out Jackson Leone, the best defensive system game I've ever seen someone play. And it was just really a collective team win there.
You're in a quite a role right now. So your last 4 games, and every game you play is kind of a must-win kind of setup. Your last 4 games, you're averaging 33 points a game. So Illinois College at your place, you scored 27. Cornell, you scored 43. We'll talk about that. Lake Forest, you scored 35. And in Illinois College, you scored 25. Or yeah, the first Illinois College was at their place. 33 points a game, last 4 games in must-win type situations. I want to ask you about the Cornell game. You guys were down 17 with 7:51 to play, and you end up coming all the way back to win that thing by 3. Talk about the last 7-8 minutes of that game versus Cornell that you won.
I mean, it's kind of a blur in my mind now. It was so exciting at the time. I can't really process it. But I just remember it started with Ryan Tarigi. Ryan Tarigi's from
I
Dallas.
do. I've
You
had
met him?
lunch with Ryan Tarigi.
Yes. It really started with his energy. He had 6 straight points and one. That got us going. And I hit 2 consecutive threes, and I knew from there it clicked. When we were under 10, we know that's one run. That's 30 seconds in the system. So I think at the 5 minute mark, we were still down 5 points. And it really came back to the defense. They didn't score a field goal in the last 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And they have one of the best scorers in the Midwest Conference. Jaden Meeker is averaging 22 points a game.
Right.
So we really shut him down, and it was the energy from the bench that really carried us in the last 2 minutes.
Down the stretch, you mentioned my guy from Plano, Texas here, who was awesome. You scored 15 points in the final 6 minutes. 15 in 6 minutes. I think most guys would be happy if they averaged 10 points a game. You scored 15 in 6 minutes. I mean, desperation time. Maybe that's not the right word, but urgent time, right? What was
Yeah.
your mentality in the final 6 minutes or so when you were scoring all those points?
I think it came back to, if I'm going to touch the ball, I'm going to shoot it every single time. I don't care who's in front of me. I don't care how far away I'm from the basket. If I touch the ball, I'm going to shoot it. And you have some nights where they just go in. So as a shooter, just keep shooting, just be confident. It was just the confidence from within that led to those last 6 minutes. Yeah.
Huge win. When we're talking about a race that's coming down to the final game, yeah, think of how big that is to have come back from 17 down with 7:51 to play. That's unbelievable. By the way, your teammates would like me to ask you a question, which is, are you indeed the most TC person on Grinnell's campus? Can you comment on that?
I can't believe you put that question in there. I
Uh,
am indeed the most TC person on Grinnell's campus. Just the way I wear my beats, my hood up all the time. No, I'm joking. Ryan Tarigi, though, he is a subtle front runner for the most TC man on the Grinnell campus.
Now, I'm kind of in tune with the youth of today. So, I mean, I know what this TC thing is, but there's a lot of old people that tune into the QCast. Could you tell them what it means to be the most TC person on campus?
It's kind of a running joke with the Grinnell men's basketball team. It's TC's a New Zealand slang for too cool, or like you're Hollywood. So we kind of just make fun of each other for walking around in a certain way, having a basketball strut, having your hood up, having your beats on in a certain way. So it's an inside joke to be Hollywood around people, I
I'm pretty
guess.
sure I'm going to start using that on Twitter with some of these people who are not like. There's a lot of people on Twitter that are not like TC whatsoever. I could name them here, but we would need more time. Um, can't let you go without asking a little bit about the more important side of what you do there at Grinnell, which is the academic side. What are you studying? Do you have a major yet? Do you know what you want to do? Talk about like the academic side and what you've got going on there.
Well, I really like Grinnell because it was liberal arts, so you can try out a lot of things. And I was unsure about what I wanted to major in, so I took to some economics courses in my first semester, and I really enjoyed those. So I've continued those through my second semester. But I'm also really enjoying chemistry this semester. So I'm kind of divided what I'm going to do there, but I'll probably major in either one of the two there.
And I mean, what country then are you going to go to after that? You've been to all these places and continents and country. Like, where are you going to go? I guess you have several years to figure this out, but where the heck are you going to land after you're at Grinnell?
I wish I could tell you. Yeah, I would definitely love to go back overseas, back to Asia, back to Africa. Those are amazing places, But, only time will tell, so I'm not sure yet.
Got to give you a chance to give a shout out to your coaching staff there. You guys, I've had Coach Arsenault Jr. on the QCast. Now, DJ, he has brokered. You're the second person he has sent my way, or he has like helped coordinate.
Yes.
And his time is coming on the QCast. He is very close to getting the call. He's very close. But I do want to give you a chance to give a shout out to the entire coaching staff, and I know that those guys mean a lot to you.
Yeah, I just, Coach Dave, I don't know where I'd be without him. He instills so much confidence in me every practice. He's really, really hard on me, but I know that's where the balance comes from. He puts all the, I'm shooting like 20 shots a game. So if he didn't have that confidence in me, I wouldn't be doing that. And then Coach DJ, they're like yin and yang, they balance each other out. He helps me when I'm down. He gives great advice. And at the same time, he's probably the best social media assistant coach in all of
He
D3
is. He's
across
good.
all divisions. He's amazing. So I have to give him a shout out for that. And we have an associate coach called Coach Jeff. He doesn't come to a lot of the games, but he's at most practices with his little baby Charlie. So shout out to him too. He used to be a D3 hooper, so he really understands us, and he's also great to have at practice.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to watch like these games down the stretch, because it's one thing to watch Grinnell when Grinnell's having a tough season. When you're having a good season like this, it's really fun to watch the system. Like when the system is clicking and working, and when you're beating good teams, which you are. I mean, pretty cool stuff. And I hope people tune in. What, Kai, what the thought of playing in the NCAA tournament, which Grinnell hasn't done since 2001. What would that be like to see your name on the bracket and get to tee it up in the NCAA tournament?
I mean, it would be a dream. I think the entire team, we collectively know that that's our goal right now. These not even these next two games, but these next four games to get to the NCAA tournament are serious to us, and we can't wait to compete. And the system. I feel like in the NCAA tournament, even though we would probably be one of the lowest seeds. I feel like we can upset anyone. So, we're just excited about the prospect of even getting there.
Yeah, I think the way you're playing the system and with the talent you have in it, I mean, you've got good players. You guys would be a load for anyone to have to handle, and to have to spend all that practice time preparing for the system, like on that Friday night or whatever, and just spending all your time in practice on what the other guys are doing. That's a unique setup, and that's one of the big advantages that the system has. Also, but before we let you go, and then I'll ask if you have any final thoughts. Um, your impressions of Division 3. We talk about YD3, the hashtag, and would love to get a student athlete's take. Like, what's been your experience in your first year in terms of like what you enjoy about the Division 3 level?
I kind of like the sense of community it brings, like even when you play other teams, you both know your Division 3 hoopers, and there's a sort of respect there. But also at the same time, just traveling to all these little schools, it's been awesome. I haven't had an authentic American basketball experience, so I can't really compare it to other things. But I mean, my experiences, I would 100% recommend it to anyone. There's been nothing like it. It's been some of the best times of my life, these last 5 months of the season.
Well said. These D3 campuses are awesome, right? It's so much cooler to roll up to some of these schools than these monster Division 1 schools, right? It's pretty, it's charming, right? You're rolling into Illinois College and Beloit and Lake Forest, and pretty cool places. Um,
Exactly.
just one more question on my end in terms of the stretch run. Is there anything that as you prepare for Beloit, that's a road game, and road games are dicey all the time, and anything in particular that you guys have to be especially ready for during that upcoming game against Beloit?
I mean, coach said it best, we just have to go out and compete. That was his piece of advice the first time we played Beloit, and I think we beat them by about 15 points at home. But we know on the road it's going to be a lot harder, especially in Wisconsin. But we just have to go out there, be dogs, and compete.
By the way, I've never known how this works. Let's say that this is a system question. This is a technical question.
Yeah.
At what point do you turn off the system and play normal basketball? Not normal. I don't mean that to be dismissive. I'm just saying, like, let's say you're up 8 with 2 minutes to go. Up 8, 2 minutes to go. You got the ball. So they miss. You get a rebound. Are you going to sprint down and jack up a 3? Or at what point do we shut off the system? How does this work, Kai?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this.
There is an actual answer, though, isn't there? There's like a number,
There's
isn't
an
there?
actual answer, but with these two games coming up, I know they're going to be close.
Okay.
I don't know who's listening.
I respect that. I respect that. I wanted to know that there was a shut off switch. There is
No,
there's a lever that you can pull, right? That says no system.
no, exactly. There is. You know, you were pretty spot on with your guess there, but I won't say anymore.
Okay, I thought that's interesting. That's a great answer. Um, Folks, we've been talking to Kai Tahuki, who is a 6'6" freshman forward from Grinnell. He is leading Division III men's basketball in scoring at 29 points a game. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, that you are also the leader in made threes. So made threes per game, you're making 5. And the next dude, my guy Zevi Samit at Yeshiva, he's making 3.5. So it's a
Wow.
pretty wide gap here. I'd like to see you and Zevi on some kind of all-star team someday, by the way, if we could set that up. But Kai, I wanted to give you the final thoughts on the QCast here too. You're going to have Grinnell Nation tuning in. You're going to have just normal QCast audience, D3 Nation. You're going to have people wondering about this guy that's scoring 29 a game. So I want you to kind of close us out here. What are your final thoughts on the QCast?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for having me on.
Of
It's
course.
but I also, you know, I want to shout out my team one more time. You know, I want the entire Grinnell Nation to show out on Saturday for senior night. You know, we need the entire crowd there. But, you know, I also want to, you know, to all of D3 basketball, you know, the system's coming. You know, you have 3 more years of our freshman class, so you know it's going to be an entertaining next 3 years, and then that's all I have to say.
It would be interesting if I know that you've never seen my school play Illinois Wesleyan, but if Illinois Wesleyan Grinnell got paired in the tournament, it could be the two most opposite teams in all of college basketball. It could be like I can't think of two teams that are more opposite. So I don't know, somewhere someone that's making brackets. If that happened, Kai, that would be. I would go to wherever that game was because that could be the most fascinating thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Um,
you burn that shirt.
I'm not. I can't wear this shirt to the Illinois Wesleyan Grinnell game. I can't. They won't let me do that. But I can wear it on the QCast, of course, to
Yeah.
support you. Um, Folks, that is Kai Tahuki, who is just an unbelievable talent. And again, before you dismiss his numbers around like the system, go watch him play. And I promise that you're going to come back and say that I was right. Like this is a legit stud All-American caliber kid in Division 3. Kai, I'm going to be rooting for you. Going to be rooting for Grinnell. I'd love to see you guys get in the tournament. I really would. And I wish you the best of luck and kudos on everything that you've accomplished on and off the court as a freshman. Can't wait to have you on the QCast again. Maybe every season we'll do this, and like maybe you'll be averaging 40 someday, but we'll do this again, okay?
Yes, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one, okay?
Yeah, you too.